this week. It is the Fiat 500e La Prima. Now the thing about the Fiat 500, it's an electric car. This is a brand new platform, brand spanking new, but it's not been the success that Stellantis had hoped for. And I'm told, or I did read a story, that they were back engineering to put a hybrid drive in this otherwise electric car. I've left it on so you can see the lights there, as cute as buttons, absolutely beautiful. You can see it's bisected by the bonnet. There's a little sticky outy indicator bit and some rather cute 500 wheels. If there is one bit of cost cutting, this is the door lock. There's only one of those on one door. The La Prima badge, and back here is the socket. Now, unfortunately, that's an 85 kilowatt charge, so pretty slow. The boot is reasonably sized for such a small car. I think you're going to spend most of your time with the seats folded down in a 50-50 configuration. They do leave a little bit of a lump. Let me show you. Oh, you can't see it because the headrest's in the way, unfortunately. But you see down below that that's going to leave a lump when the seat folds down with the backrest on top. And inside, this thing is absolutely beautiful. It's very similar to the Abarth E that we did a little while ago. I'm just going to turn the radio down. As always, the radio buttons for tune and volume are on the back, as with all Stellantis Group cars. Or should I say, all of the Fiat Chrysler cars. The rest of the Stellantis Group, they still make do with normal controls. There's some light and parking controls down here on the lower dash, and the highway controls for cruise control, speed limiter and so forth, and the audio controls on the other side, including voice and phone. There's a rather sweet little central dial. Now you can see I've got 45% left with 122 kilometers. That is not the half of the 310 kilometers that they claim the range is. And this is the Uconnect system. We've gone through that before, so I'm not going to do too much. Below is a phone charger, and this is your gear selector. The floor is relatively flat. The center console really just has some drive modes, the parking brake, and radio control. And a little pull-out coffee cup holder. And when that's not in use, you can just fold it away. I think they've missed out a couple of little neat tricks to make it feel just a little bit more eco-friendly. For example, the fabric here on the dash, that's kind of this rubbery material that could have been recycled. And the same with the plastic. This is quite hard, scratchy plastic, something that Fiat 500 has been notorious for a long time. Both doors have a little electric button for the release, window switches and mirror controls down below that, and above, a manual sunroof. Now obviously I'm not going to close it because I've got a camera on it, but we'll see how much in our eyes that gets. Let's get on the road. And the seats are a little bit tight to get your seatbelt in, especially if you're a larger person. Putting it in gear is just pressing the R button and we're ready to go. The reversing camera is quite clear, even with bright sunlight in it. And the button is just a start button. I checked to see what the drive-away price was this morning, and I'm just going to go into my CarPlay. I have had a little problem with the CarPlay actually. Talk about that in a minute. I'm just going to go into my saved places, as I do with all of these cars, to demonstrate how this works. It's got a very wide screen, so very much like the Alfa Romeo. This is a front-wheel drive car. Nice and quiet. 87 kilowatts. And I think it's around 220 odd Newton meters, but I'll check that. 47 odd kilowatt hour battery, 85 kilowatt charging. So it takes about half an hour to get from 80 from 10 to 80. These days, it's not really quite enough. You really do expect a little bit more, and I think that's where the 500 has suffered a little bit, is that for the price Fiat was asking for it, it wasn't really giving people value for money, especially in the era of Chinese cars. I've got a heated steering wheel and heated front seats. For those frosty mornings, I'm just going to turn on the... Alright, I've got my road control on. Now turn the highway assist on, the full highway assist. So that's the cruise control plus highway steering, which keeps you centered. So let's see how that goes. You can see, hopefully, you can see in the middle there's the little Fiat with green lines either side and a green steering wheel, and that means it's doing the steering for me. I did notice at speed yesterday and the day before that it is a little bit noisy inside. So this week all I've done is I've made sure that I kept down to what you would do with a city car. This is not a grand tourer. It isn't. There's no point pretending that it is. What you're going to be using this for is city chores like going to the shops, maybe a quick run to the airport, that sort of thing. So I'd used 50% in my week of chores, with 50% left. Now if I could plug this in at home, I'd do that and it would be continually charged. I can't. So it isn't. Now, it would be remiss of me not to touch on the handling. I took it up to my usual spot where I usually do the filming at Pie in the Sky. And in those bends, this was absolutely fabulous. Not as good as Abarth, but then it's not an Abarth, is it? Let's see what it's like on the city streets. Whee! It's a very silly little car. There's one thing that the marketing touches on that you just can't put a price on, and that is the Italianness of the design. People that like Italian design are going to love this. It's as Italian as its sister brand Alfa Romeo. You can see how very taut the suspension is on this road. It's a hideous cement road. You've got, God almighty, you've got little touches of flair all over the place. The seats, for example, have got Fiat embossed in them. But that's about as close as this is going to get to the original Fiat. And they were made in this fabulous factory that I'm showing you now, that's got the internal corkscrew up to a racetrack on the roof, an actual racetrack. I mean, that's as cool as things get. Fiat 500 e-buys, they want something a little bit unusual. They want something that's cute, and this is cute, even in this dusky pink colour. Economical, and if you can charge at home, it absolutely is economical. It doesn't really make sense for someone that can't charge at home, unless you've got a local fast charger that you can plug into and rest for half an hour or so. Ooh, Porsche. So the question then becomes, would I buy one? Yes, I would. I like these very much. I think they're so cute. I drove one of these around Queensland last year, in and around Brisbane, and I was able to charge at home. And the thing is, it did what it said on the box. I charged it every night from a wall socket in the garage. I had no range problems, no range anxiety. It did what I wanted. I never had to go near a smelly old petrol station. And it was in a garage with a Tesla. It just makes me smile. I love this a lot. That's all this week from the Fiat 500e La Prima. I love this little car. I think it's hugely underrated, but I'll leave that for you to decide. And here's some more Italian footage to take us out. So as always, hit like, leave a comment, and on the roundel to subscribe.